The Zombies game mode is known as a core part of Call of Duty in the present day. It's made its way into most Call of Duty games, even now debuting in Modern Warfare with MW3. But what if I told you that Zombies never should have even happened? There was no direct plan to add it alongside multiplayer in the campaign. It was a project born out of the miniature rations of free time allowed by the strict development of World at War. The inspiration came from the on-fire animation in-game. Development was kept a total secret until it was in a playable state. Then the Activision executives were just asked to simply play. Needless to say, they liked it. At this point, it's common knowledge that when you beat the World at War campaign, you get dropped into the iconic cutscene where the shambling horde approaches you until a figure breaks into a sprint at you. There's a cut to black, and the blood-stained title unveils itself. This is Nazi Zombies. Amazingly, the tech demo made out of pure passion evolved into an iconic piece of Call of Duty identity. And it's time to ask that fateful question once again. Why? Well, Zombies couldn't have gotten anywhere without a first map, so what made Nacht genius? An obvious starting point is the shock value. No signs pointing to anything after the campaign. You were supposed to be done, but now you're trapped in a minute space with nothing but a pistol. Atmosphere proves to be Nacht's strongest aspect as soon as you load into the game. It's just nothing but your footsteps in a being laughing maniacally, enjoying your despair. The noise goes uninterrupted for a short while until you hear a groan, then some more, and more. You aren't alone after all. The figures from the cutscene are now approaching your location from several different angles, but it's fine, right? You have a pistol. It could drop any human in a well-placed shot. You unload and the creature will die. Not as fast as you'd hope. You drop more and more of them. Maybe this isn't so bad. You're reminded of the cruel truth that nothing lasts forever, including your ammo. However, there's hope. As you've been slaying the zombies, you've gained some kind of points. Maybe you could buy something? Whether by luck or curiosity, the player will stumble into a wall buy. Perhaps not everything supernatural is out for you. A rifle manifests into your hands along with a renewed sense of hope. You've taken the reins back on your survival. Ammo won't even be an issue as you can buy more at a discounted price. But this is just a cruel cycle. Ammo might not be an issue, but their numbers are increasing and your gun's effectiveness is diminishing. What appears to be hell is nothing but false hope, a means to extend your fleeting life, and nothing exemplifies this better than the mystery box, both your salvation and your damnation. Approaching it reveals a prompt to open it for 950 points. Doing so causes it to cycle through weapons until landing on one you can take or leave. While in reality the weapon is completely random, often you feel that this couldn't be less true. A completely random element like this in the map conveys a sense of futility and powerlessness of the player. They must rely on a neutral yet chaotic vendor for any chance of keeping the undead at bay, and we've all experienced a stomach drop when it outputs an awful weapon. If the box decides to bless you with an LMG, or perhaps the elusive ray gun, the facade of control may begin to arise again. Maybe the player isn't so foolish. They understand that caution is key to survival. Then again, calling the cycle survival is arrogant. Death is inevitable. Inevitability is a key theme in every Call of Duty Zombies game. Your death is assured as soon as you click play. From the very start of the game, the zombies gradually invade, never stopping. They're unrelenting. However, Nacht not only pioneered this formula, but in my opinion, perfected it. It's never been done as well as it has here. The claustrophobic bunker is uncanny with how little space you're given. When the horde gradually advances into your cramped area, their presence is overwhelming. Lack of resources plays a major part in Nacht's oppression. You have no perks, no pack-a-punch, no traps, not even a power switch. An experienced Zombies player might forget how nerve-wracking it is to be so vulnerable. You only have the box, completely leaving your survival up to chance. Or you can invest in wall guns, which don't have the firepower to sustain you for very long. Every element of this map is completely out to get you. Even your saving grace, in the ray gun, can very easily end your own life if used mindlessly. Another defining factor of this map is that there are no recognisable characters. Characters in future maps are comic relief, sources of lore, and personalities to identify. However, in Nacht there are no quotes, just silence. You play as a nameless marine. Now, while it does make the map more bland, I'd argue it works in the map's favour massively. Could you imagine if the atmosphere was interrupted by Nikolai screaming about his wives? Funnily enough, this is a notable flaw within Nacht. Although the characters aren't named, they do yell quotes. That map's vivid atmosphere is ruined by Marines who aren't even slightly scared.
Stupid undead bastard! Die, you son of a bitch! I thought I was dead meat!
Nacht being spared that fate likely benefited the map. While atmospheric design is almost perfect on Nacht, that comes at a massive toll on the gameplay. I would personally compare the experience to a movie. When it's new, or you've forgotten everything about it, Nacht is undoubtedly a refreshing change. The bare bones survival is very unique in comparison to modern day zombies. Nothing is required of you except opening 3 doors and living. Although, like a movie, no one wants to replay it straight away. Extremely short and linear progression makes replayability a serious issue. Having such a small, compact space is fantastic for evoking emotion in players. To veterans, or even just someone who knows what the map has to offer, this matters not. Gameplay suffers from Nacht's core philosophy. If you recall, I stated that Nacht's atmosphere has never been truly replicated in its effectiveness, and now you may realise why. The design of Nacht that makes it so genius is its fatal flaw. There's just so little content in the map that once the atmosphere's effect wanes, you're left with nothing. While unfair to do so, comparing Nacht to modern zombies just highlights how shallow it truly is. Of course it is, but that doesn't change the fact that it's boring. There's just no reason to play unless you really want to scratch that bare bones itch. The map is known to be quite easy. Like all World at War maps besides the Reese, it's plagued by the 24 max zombies per round on solo. You take that, and an infinite ammo weapon in the flamethrower, and then you get world records like round 8,817. Even if not going for ludicrous rounds like this, the lack of challenge really makes Nacht feel monotonous. To be fair to Nacht, it's not like Treyarch had developed this as a mainstay game mode, and certainly not with the advanced movement of today in mind. So with that, you might be asking, well Scooby, if you want to whine like a little bitch, how would you change Nacht? And I'll tell you, I wouldn't. Nacht is a very flawed experience, but its flaws are its strengths. Sure, it's really easy, but the lower skill level at the time didn't think so. Plus, if it was extremely hard, it's much less likely that such a tight-knit community would have formed to share their high rounds with each other. There isn't much to do in the map due to its size, but how would the near-perfect atmosphere be affected if the scale was increased? Anyway, it's not like this was a main development project. It's interesting how balancing Nacht out to be its best is so difficult. Trying to give without taking just seems impossible. I'll be honest, to me, Nacht is not a fun map. I just don't enjoy playing it. The early rounds drag on, the zombies take 2 weeks to get to the bunker on round 1, and I have no nostalgia for it, so it's not like I can put on my rose-tinted glasses. On the contrary, I can't see how anyone can repeatedly play this map. But, at the same time, only a fool would be so quick to dismiss what this map served as. While it definitely isn't a map I play consistently, without Nacht there would be no maps to play. Nacht was the cracked foundation that managed to hold a skyscraper. The miracle that zombies even got in the game was not wasted by the development team, as they created an addictive, one-of-a-kind game that will never be forgotten. Just like Nacht, 'cause it's in every fucking game. Why is it in every Black Ops game? Why is it remade in 1 and 3 and in fucking Revelations? Why is it in Transit? Why is it in D Machine? And why the actual fuck is it in CoD Mobile? Hey there, appreciate you watching to the end. If you'd like me to cover more CoD maps, I'd be happy to. Or if there's anything else you want to see, let me know. You may or may not have noticed how similar the structure of this video was to the Smith Plays Zombies retrospective series. If you like this video, you'll love that series. I'll link the playlist in the description. And with that, I hope you guys stick around to see more content from me and the rest of the guys.